What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna be updating you with everything that I've done with this monster. It's been a few months since I got it and I have done so much to it already. There's still a few more things on the list that I need to tick off, but I just thought I'd do a halfway update video. This thing was already incredible. I didn't mind its stock at all, but the things that have been done here, I mean, the previous owner already did some stuff, but it really needed a lot of work. I have changed everything, almost everything on the car, from exhaust pipes, ball joints, rods, cables, hoses, oils, fluids, whatever you want, it's been changed. I'm waiting. I don't know if you guys saw my video about the Rhino GX. The Rhino sits taller than this H1, but in terms of width, I've yet to see anything on the road as wide as this, other than many commercial and large transport vehicles, things like that. That's a different story, but I mean a road car, a road vehicle for normal civilian use, this thing is unbelievable. Because there's a lot of things to list on this car, let's start step by step. I'll start with the suspension. The suspension here, the stock suspension is good, but in my opinion it had to go, especially having many years on it. The springs were a little bit sagged and the shocks were 50-50. So I decided to go with this spring and shock setup. I've been waiting 3 months, possibly more, for this setup. These are by American Humvee. I was told by very experienced Hummer technicians that these are really good and they make the ride very comfortable, smooth, also very adjustable. These are completely custom made, and the shock, really the shock is something special because it's nitrogen. It's not a normal oil-filled shock. So and it's got many clicks at the top. I don't know if you can see it here, but you can adjust the shock absorbers, which is fantastic, and honestly they are the biggest difference on this car. And this one does need it. For example, my red H1 is a soft top and it's relatively lighter weight than this. Honestly, I've developed such a bond with this car. I've already loved it before even buying it, but living with it and having it, it's got so much character, so much presence, and this thing demands respect from everyone. I love it. I really am in love with this car, and I can see why this is a dream car to many people, including myself. It's just a very unique vehicle, and really it grows on you. The more you have it, the more you love it, and I guess that's why I ended up with two of them, and both really drive completely different. I've said that before, but for those who have ever tried the wagon and the soft top, you'll know that it's already very different. And the aftermarket Predator parts also, because they add a little bit of weight, they make it behave differently, so you have to compensate with things such as the brakes, suspension, all that stuff. Hence why I'm leaving the suspension on the red one stock, because they're honestly in great shape and they're not sagged. And the only reason I changed these was because they were sagged and because they were pretty old, and I just needed something much more durable and much more comfortable. Another thing that I've done and I'm super excited about is this night vision system, which is really cool. I'm working into programming it at the moment because it does need a separate screen on the inside, which I don't have. I have all the wires and the cables and everything run through to make it work, but I do need to get that screen to actually get the full potential of this, because this is a really cool unit to have. One more thing is that the wheels and tires were a bit tucked in, so I had to get custom spacers made for this vehicle, and they work fantastic. They basically make the wheel and tire come and be kind of flush with the vehicle, because before, when I would look at the H1, it's already ridiculously wide. Not that it needed to be any wider, I just didn't like the wheels to tuck under the body in a way, but right now it's perfectly flush. I mean, and they don't pop out. It's literally just flush from each side, which is fantastic. One more thing that I've done is I've upgraded the headlights, and they're much more powerful, the bulbs. so I can see much clearer at night, because the stock lights are normal halogens. This one did have the modified lights, but I made them even more powerful, and now you don't even need to use that LED bar because it's as powerful, and it's not a yellow light, it's more like a white light. But if you really need to blind someone in front of you, then you use the LED lights. I was gonna go with bigger wheels and tires for this monster, but honestly I've always loved the original Hummer H1 wheels. They're just like a solid dish wheel with all the bolts and screws in them, and I just really appreciate them. So I've not had the courage to actually change, and I love everything about the Goodyear MTs. The fact that they say military MT, military OZ on them, and yeah, I do have the CTIS lines at home. I disconnected them because when I leave this car parked for a while, it's normal on all H1s, many of them have CTIS leaks. It doesn't leak too bad, but I just decided to disconnect them for now so that I can inflate the tires, and every time I leave it, no matter for how long, I come back and it's just the same air pressure inside. To me, this car is so special, really. Everything about it, the way it drives, the width, the spatial awareness that you have to have while driving this thing, especially in the city, it's ridiculous. I mean, ask anyone that's been with me in the car, other than the fact that they sit in a different zip code on the side or behind you or wherever. When you drive this thing, it is just nice. It's a good feeling, and usually I like to drive fast. I like something powerful, loud. This thing, again, because I'm not a truck guy or a big car kind of guy, I'm usually like the sports car lover. I like lightweight, fast, power to weight ratio, but this is just different. This is in another world. I don't know what it is about this car, but I just absolutely love it. It's the shape, it's the character, it's the respect too. This car demands a lot of respect on the road. Honestly, this thing is so badass, and it's so freaking wide. Every time you go into a lane, I mean, the road here is huge. It's a big road, but once we go into the city where the lanes are pretty tight, honestly, sometimes we have to go through spaces where I need to be like, all right, you know what, maybe I need to tuck the mirror in a little bit and go. But thankfully never really had to get out of the car to do that. But sometimes if I had a passenger next to me, I think I've done that once, but it was a really tight situation. And again, I'm not really worried about this car. I'm worried about whatever is around it. So I need to be really careful and really aware. I don't want to end up, you know, God forbid, doing anything stupid with it. But it is just cool and badass. The gears, the portal axles, everything that's in this car is just heavy duty and built to perform, and that's what I love about this thing. One more particular thing that I do like to mention about this car, which I really love, is the fact that it's got remote start, and I can start it from anywhere. So because it's a diesel, with diesel cars and trucks, you need to warm them up. They need to warm up a little bit. The glow plugs need to kind of warm up, and then they start. So with this, what it does is that you can start it. Let's say you're sitting somewhere, it's cold outside, you want the car to warm up, but you don't want to sit inside the car and wait for that to happen. You have remote start and you go for it. So it's just really nice, really cool feature. So yeah, let me talk about the things that I haven't done yet, which needs to be done ASAP, as soon as I'm done with all the work, because I still have a couple of things that I want to check to perfect on this car. 3 things are left to do. Number 1, but this is the final thing, is that once I'm done with all the work on this vehicle, it does need to be painted. A fresh set of paint. It's going to be the same black paint, but fresh, gloss, beautiful, because the color on some parts, I mean mostly on this part here, from the rest it's very hard to notice the blemishes, which it doesn't really have, keeping in mind the age of this thing. This is all original paint. This thing has not been painted since the year it was made, and I again, it's a testament. But it's a single stage paint. That's the thing. Hummers all have a single stage paint, so with time the weather does really get to them. So what I want to do is I want to get this thing completely painted in a beautiful paint, definitely multi-layers, and have it looking sparkly, nice, beautiful, as if it just left the showroom floor. And the other thing that I want to do, and actually not want, I need to do, Hummer people are going to know this, but the AC system in this car, and even in the Alpha, even in the H1 Alpha, which this isn't, but this is got a lot of aftermarket stuff, so it's still lacking in my opinion. And the other thing, before I forget, the final thing that I need to do is the tint. I want to actually get a darker tint, because this in the sunlight, it's actually really good. The sunlight, it darkens up, but right now when the sun kind of settles, it starts to be a little bit transparent, more so in the driver passenger side. In the rear it's a bit darker, but the front, as you can see, it's a little bit lighter. I want to get the whole thing tinted. I want to get this old tint removed and get something tinted that's a UV protection and everything, because I do want the interior, let's say I park it in the sunlight for a while, I want the whole thing to be completely blacked out. I don't want anything. I want to be able to look at the car from far away, from close, wherever, and I want to be able to see nothing from inside. But obviously from within the car you can see perfectly clear. Another thing I want to talk about is I installed a satellite receiver system in this car, which is amazing. I don't even want to mention how many channels it has. One, because I don't know how many channels it has. It's a ridiculous amount. It's over there. Comes with a walkie-talkie system, and I've been reading about it, reading how to use it, so I'm not yet familiar with it. I'll talk about it later when I familiarize myself with the system. But yeah, it basically lets you intercept any channel you want anywhere within a certain radius, and it's pretty cool. It's just a nice feature to have. Comes with extra walkie-talkies that can be placed in the car and can be given to the passengers if they decide to leave or venture off away from the car. You still have direct communication with them, even if there's no signal on their iPhones. So let's say we were in a forest or desert or wherever it is with this car, and you had people in the car that needed to venture off and then come back to the vehicle, so they have radio communication directly to the car, which is really nice to have, and I'm glad I put that on the vehicle. I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video, but I'll say it again anyways if I have mentioned it already. This thing actually has AMG brakes, and that's really hilarious with regards to this car. So it does, despite its weight, I honestly, no joke, it stops way better than the red H1, even though that thing is much lighter. Despite the weight, this thing stops on a dime, and that's thanks to the Kevlar AMG brakes that I have installed. Again guys, I'm not gonna go into the details from the interior and stuff, because I already did a video on this car. I'm just showing you what I've personally changed on this bad boy. So yeah, I do like that search and rescue package that Predator has, and I'm glad that it's installed on this car, because I put so much stuff in that container. I put tow straps, things in case I needed to help somebody, or somebody got stranded or something, because in the snow or any of that stuff, this thing, I mean, the four-wheel drive system on this car is amazing. I mean, this car is in great condition considering its age. Honestly, I when I bought it, I thought at least I was gonna have to change some of the switches and cables, at least some bulbs in the car, like the lights, the gauge lights, things like that. Honestly, nothing. It's been amazing. The only thing I did need to change, and that was after some time of owning it and driving it in the rain and all that stuff, is this bulb right here. And other than that, it's been phenomenal. It's got such character, and it'll climb over anything. Whether it's the wagon or the soft top, they'll both drive over anything without complaints. This thing is by far not even close to the most expensive car that I've owned. But you know what? Screw the money. This thing, it's more than that. It's just, like I said before, it's character, it's love, it's passion. It's just unique. It's really special. I'm in love with this thing. I really don't think I will never sell this car. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I tried to keep it as brief as possible with regards to the updates that I've done. I really can't wait to finish this monster to where it's completely painted, the AC is updated, and it's just ready to take on anything, anywhere. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Till next time.